Hey there, second grade. How's everybody doing today? And welcome back to another remote learning math lesson with Mr. Enzi. And this time I'm here with Hedwig, Harry Potter's snowy owl. Hedwig is made out of Lego pieces because Lego is one of my hobbies. Today in second grade, we are going to be looking at some patterns in our number grid. So let me shrink myself into the corner as we get started. So today we're going to be doing grade 2, lesson 1.4, exploring patterns on the number grid. So the first thing we want to look at is what exactly is a pattern? Well, a pattern is something that repeats because of a rule. So let's look at some examples of a pattern. Here's a pattern that repeats because of a rule. We have a square, a circle, a square, a circle, a square, a circle. But we also have a green square and a blue circle, a green square and a blue circle, a green square and a blue circle. That's a pattern. It repeats because of the rule. We also have patterns that involve numbers. Here's another one. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I wonder what pattern that is. What am I counting by when I say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10? I'm counting by twos. So that's my rule as I create the number pattern. Our number grid also has a lot of patterns in them. So we're going to take a closer look at our number grid today before we get to some activities in Seesaw. So a grid is something that has lines going across and up and down. And a number grid means that in between all of these lines are numbers. So you can see that our numbers appear on our number grid. And this number grid goes all the way up to the number 110. And it starts at -9. This is a special number grid. My number grid also has rows. And every row represents a group of 10 numbers. Here we have our numbers from 1 to 10. And then we have 11 through 20. And then we have all of our 20s. And all of our 30s. And all of our 40s. And then we come to the 50s. And then the 60s. And then we have the 70s. The 80s. The 90s. And then we get over 100. We have 101 all the way to 110. So when we go across our number grid, we count by ones. But there's also a pattern when we go up and down our number grid. Look here in my tens numbers. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 110. Notice that my digit in the ones place is always a 0. But the digit in the tens place changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Wow, I wonder if that's true with every column. Let's see. I'm going to look at the number in the ones place. So the number in the ones place is 5. 5. A 5. Another 5. A 5. And 5's all the way down. And then I'm going to look at the numbers in the tens place. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They keep increasing by 1. That's because when we go up and down, our tens number is moving to the next tens place digit. But when we go across, our numbers are counting by 1 on a number grid. So that is some pretty cool patterns that we can see on a number grid. So here's another number grid. This number grid is going to allow for me to count by certain numbers. You have this available in your ConnectEd account underneath the eTools. So I'm going to count by 2s on my number grid. Let's see what happens. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30. Do you see a pattern as to which numbers are being circled? Look how cool that is. Well, I see that we have a column here that we seem to skip. We don't color in any numbers here. And then all of these numbers that end in a 2 are circled. And then all of these numbers that end in a 3, we left alone. But all the numbers that end in a 4, we circled. All the numbers that ended in 5, we left alone. So we can see that when we count by 2s on our number grid, we can see a pattern. We're skipping every other number. Pretty cool. So I'm going to clear, and I'm going to count this time by another number. This time I'm going to count by 5s. Let's see what happens this time. 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60. Does anybody see a pattern this time? I wonder what number all of the circled numbers end with. What digit does all of these numbers end with? Well, they all end with a 5. And look at these numbers. All of these numbers end in a 0. So when we count by 5s, we can see that we have 2 of our columns going up and down that are totally circled in. Another pattern that exists on our number grid. So you may remember in first grade that we would use our number grid a lot. We would start at a number and we would count hops. Let's see. Start at 6, count up 3. Where do you land? Let's see. We would go 1, 2, 3. And I would land on the number 9. Let's see if I clear off my writing here and try another one. This time, start at 17. So we have to be able to find 17. Oh, I know it's with my teens. Start at 17 and count up 5. Well, this time, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I would land on the number 22. So our number grids are just like reading a book. When we go down and finish the one row, we go all the way back and start at the beginning of the next row. Let's try one more. Start at 22. Count up 10. Now, I bet there's a lot of students who go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, you can do that. You certainly did count up 10 boxes, and we counted up 10 numbers. But there's an easier way in math. When we work with our number grid, if we go down the elevator one time, we've counted 10. So I started at 22, and when I wanted to count 10 more, all I had to do was drop down the elevator. Awesome job. Today in Seesaw, you are going to have some activities to do on a number grid. So when you log in, you're going to see the directions where you're going to have to hop on a number grid to see where you're going to stop. All right, my second grade friends, we'll see everybody real soon. Go ahead and practice hopping on a number grid.